G'day everyone, and welcome back. My name is 99 Destroyer, and today, well, I'm going to be giving you guys my recommendations and just my general thoughts overall on ship choices and hopefully some little tips that you guys can use to help you progress through this new ranked season in 2022. So, kicking things off with, I'm just going to quickly run through, as most of you guys probably are aware, the ranked season, at least for the start of 2022, we have 7 vs 7 in tiers 6 and 7. We've got 6v6 for tiers 8 and 9 for silver, and for gold league we have got 5v5 in tier 10 only. Now, sounds like from at least my point of view, it's quite an interesting format. I do like this. Obviously the variation in the different tiers does make for something a bit different as you try to progress through, and well, having the lowering player numbers does mean as you get higher and higher within the ranks, at least personally I feel as though your performance has a much greater impact on how the matches actually turn out, and that's ultimately something you do want to have in ranked. Now, where am I up to in ranked? I've already managed to push myself all the way through Bronze League, through Silver League, and I'm about halfway through in Gold League. So, I would like to think I do have a bit of an understanding of how this mode works. Obviously, this is all my personal opinion on what you guys, and what you guys may or may not want to bring is totally different and completely up to you. Anyways, we're going to kick things straight off the bat here, and we're just going to talk about Bronze League here, just for ship choices. I will also leave timestamps down below for you guys, so you can quickly jump to Bronze, Silver, and Gold as you guys want to go. But just a general overall tip, I personally feel, yes, for tiers 8, for Bronze and Silver, you can take aircraft carriers. My personal recommendation is to avoid doing so. Not because they aren't extremely powerful or anything, but I honestly, at least me as a player, whilst I can perform in aircraft carriers, I just feel as though they're not as influential as they possibly could be, but that's just my opinion. And I just feel they take a little bit too much time out of the game. I prefer to, well, get up close and be a bit more impersonal, especially as you will probably see with my decisions going through with the ship choices. But that would be my one big recommendation for most people, and that's just stay away from aircraft carriers. Anyways, starting off with this first one, Bronze League. I'm only going to really recommend tier 7 ships here, reason being they're a whole tier higher compared to the tier 6 ships, and just overall going to be a bit more powerful. So, first ship I'm going to go probably like say a few ships from each of the different categories, so maybe a few ships from destroyers, cruisers, and battleships, of course. This is going to be just a mix of tech tree and premium, so for those that don't own some of these ships, at least you can have something to help you going through. So a couple ships I would recommend for at least Bronze League, in terms of destroyers, definitely going to be looking here firstly at, and these will pop up on screen, going to be looking at the Akatsuki, the Haida, the Jervis, the Mahan, and, well, I would even throw, and the Z39 as well in there. You can run any ship that's on the list here as well, ranging from stuff like the Vakulin, the Skane, the Mars, etc. They're all going to do you well, and Bronze League, in all honesty, I do feel as though it's actually pretty chill here. You can run any ship you want to, and they will treat you perfectly fine. Now, what's your role going to be as a destroyer in any of those kind of ships I've just listed? For the most part, it's just going to be going for the caps and contesting them. And that's probably the number one key I've had in terms of having great success with this version of ranked, and that's just been going after the caps, securing them, and trying to bully the enemy destroyers away. On the background footage here, you've got clanmate Luck Defender, and he's playing here the Mahan for us, and well, you can see how he's been playing, going for those cap circles, and just how well that's been working out for him so far. But that's just my recommendation in those terms of ships of destroyers. They're all pretty solid destroyers, some of them being excellent in terms of stuff like the Z39, having it pretty damn solid hydro, able to bully ships out of the cap circle. It's always fantastic. In terms of cruisers, Well, this one is going to be a little bit more different, but Miyoko, I personally really enjoy that ship. The Atlanta is fantastic for trying to deal with enemy destroyers. Belfast, which is just absolutely insanely powerful. The Fiji, which has a fantastic tech tree equivalent. Helena is not bad either. Indianapolis is great because it's also got itself a radar. The New Orleans is pretty damn solid as well. And yeah, those would be my cruiser recommendations, my top cruiser recommendations going through. A few of those ones there, such as the Atlanta and the Belfast and the New Orleans, all of them have radar at tier 7, which is very, very powerful when you're trying to stop enemy destroyers from taking caps and just supporting your friendly destroyers. In terms of battleships, well, once again, you've got a lot of variation here. However, for me, I would recommend the Leon, Nagato, Nelson, Poltava, Prince Heinrich, and obviously the Sinop. Those would be my top picks there in terms of battleships. All of them are very, very solid, either have really fantastic firepower, great armor, whether they have a super heal such as the Nelson, some fantastic guns like Poltava, Prince Heinrich, which has got very, very effective secondary. It's got Hydro, it's got some torps, and then you got stuff like Sinop, which is, well, it's not called the Sinop for no reason. But that would be my at least tier 7 choices for the Bronze League. Obviously, feel free to let me know what you guys think of those choices. And well, that for me, when I ground through my ranked, I played exclusively Belfast and I played exclusively the Poltava, and those ships worked out absolutely fantastically for me, and I blitzed through bronze on the first day it was released. But once again, that's completely up to you, and I honestly do feel as long as you're playing decently and you're working with your team, this version of ranked is actually pretty damn chill, at least for Bronze League. Okie dokie, moving on to Silver League, and we're just going to run through a few suggestions here whilst we've got background footage provided by Dreadhertz here playing his Groningen. Can watch a full replay I did quickly a bit earlier this week if you want to see just a different match also played by Dreadhertz playing his Groningen. So once again, similar to Bronze League, I'm only going to be really recommending tier 9s for this as well. They're just cut above tier 8s, obviously being a tier higher. Anyways, in terms of destroyers that I would like to recommend for people, and obviously this may include quite a fair few premium ships, so I will try to mention some tech tree ships that's a bit easier to get for people. But in terms of the ships I would recommend, at least for Silver League, in terms of destroyers, absolutely recommend the Black. Fantastic destroyer having radar. Fletcher is awesome. The Friesland and the Groningen, which are obviously exactly the same ship, absolutely insane firepower and cap contesting potential. The Mogador, the Jutland, or Jutland, I don't know how you say that exactly. The Neuster Shimmy, and I'd say the Z46 as well. Those would probably be my top destroyer picks. For me, when I was playing through and did my silver, I played a lot of Friesland, and that worked fantastically for me. Particularly at the end, I had a 6-win streak that helped me get straight from completing silver all the way into the qualifications for gold. So I would absolutely 100% recommend picking the Friesland or Groningen, because, well, having this insane firepower and being able to bully enemy destroyers out of the cap circle is always a fantastic win. In terms of cruisers now there's quite a fair few options here, but once again, prefacing, may include a fair few premiums. Pick number 1, Alaska. Absolutely incredibly strong ship, well worth it in my opinion. The Buffalo is another solid choice. I'd also recommend going ahead and say grabbing the Riga. That's also a fantastic ship to be using in this mode. And I think that's really all there is in terms of cruisers that I would highly recommend. There's not a huge amount in terms of cruisers because, as we'll see, it tends to actually be quite a heavy battleship / destroyer meta as it goes through. But once again, if you don't have those ships, you can very easily run something such as an Aegir, such as Carnot. You can even run stuff like Drake, which would do you well with the tanking potential. Rune, which wouldn't be too bad either. Seattle, that can do alright because it does have the radar, and it obviously being a light cruiser does suffer a little bit in terms of tankiness, but you do have great firepower. Anyways, in terms of battleships at this tier, 100% I would absolutely recommend the Georgia. Honestly, having the speed boost, actually being able to catch up to and outrun enemy destroyers, something absolutely fantastic. Iowa, pretty damn solid actually, especially having the buffed heal on that ship and just the super accurate guns. Jean Bart, Kearsarge, because you can actually get your own spotting with the planes on that ship, which does actually prove to be really incredibly useful. Where am I up to? So Kearsarge, as I've just mentioned. Missouri's not bad, but I wouldn't recommend it as highly as the Iowa. The Musashi is fantastic. I mean, it's OP for a very, very easy reason. Pommern, which is actually very, very tanky, and obviously you got your great secondaries, torpedoes. Prince Ruprecht as well, I would recommend that because, well, being one of the German battle cruisers, yes, you do suffer from having weaker armor compared to a lot of the other ships. However, you do have insane secondaries, you got a lot of torpedoes, and you do have a lot of bullying potential if you can push into enemy destroyers and force them out. I have enjoyed playing my Schlieffen in gold, but that Prince Ruprecht, I would give that a recommendation for silver. And well, I would also recommend the Sovietsky Soyuz. Having a Soviet battleship with fast stacking damage cons, always a great pick at that tier. But those would be my general kind of recommendations for playing in silver. Obviously, as I mentioned before, you can pick and choose whatever you want, and that's not going to, and they shouldn't be too much of an issue for you. But however, you do have to be a little bit more proactive when you're working in Silver League, because obviously the team size has now been reduced to 6v6, so what you do in the battle does have a bit more of an influence. Destroyer gameplay, as mentioned before, you really want to be bullying those caps, trying to force the enemy destroyers back, going for the torpedo strikes wherever you can get them against enemy battleships, and just doing the best you possibly can do. Cruisers, now that there's a lot more access to radar at this tier, you really want to be punishing those enemy destroyers, taking central positions, trying to get crossfires, and battleships in general, well, you guys need to be blapping the absolute living hell out of enemy ships. Anyways, let's move on and see how we go in terms of ship choices for Gold League. And well, here we go, Gold League. So now we really need to be picking, and like actually if you've managed to make your way into Gold League already, congratulations. It is actually quite a bit of a slog to get there. And now it's in a 5v5 format where you really do need to have a very, very positive influence to actually, well, do well in these games. Now, background footage here is just going to be myself playing Kleber, and well, as I'll get into in a second, yeah, Kleber is actually a fantastic choice in my opinion. Anyways, in terms of ship choices here, in terms of the destroyers, what do I recommend? Firstly, Forrest Sherman, if you've managed to get your hands on one of those so far, and don't worry, that's going to be coming out just for generic coal very, very shortly, so please try to avoid gambling if you can to get this ship. But if you do have Forrest Sherman, that's fantastic for DD bullying. The firepower on that thing is absolutely ludicrous. It's got a 5-kilometer hydro. It's fantastic for doing that. Other destroyers that I do recommend as well, Kleber. The absolute insanity that you have with this ship, the insane speed, as I managed to, I don't know if you saw briefly, but I managed to rush all the way up to Alpha, capture that before really getting hurt too hard. And well, you've got some insane YOLO potential as well in terms of your torpedoes, which have absolutely fantastic damage output, insane firing angles, and well, having main battery reload booster as well on these guns does make for a very, very sweet time. So when you want to engage an enemy destroyer, you can absolutely smash them hard. So Kleber is definitely up there in terms of, for me personally as a player, as something that would be a great choice here in ranked. Another great choice as well that I've seen so far is Marceau. Obviously the coal version, I guess you could say, of the Kleber. However, that goes for more sustained firepower and the torpedoes are just in general a little bit weaker, but you do have better stealth. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there, but Marceau and Kleber absolutely up there in terms of ship choices personally. Now, if you do have one of these, Smarland is absolutely insane. You can just deal with everything on the in the match. You can just bully absolutely everything, and that does you so fantastically. Having the radar, having torps, having the insane gun power of that ship, it can do you fantastically. Ragnar is also a fantastic choice in terms of tier 10 destroyers, because effectively it's just a light cruiser and you can absolutely annihilate enemy destroyers if they try to play for caps, and you've got that pretty insane speed boost as well. Throwing in a couple of tech tree ships here for you. Daring I wouldn't say is too bad, but unfortunately I think it would just be a little bit inferior compared to the other ships I've just mentioned. Shimmer can work because you have ludicrous levels of stealth, as well as gearing as well for that matter if you're running the legendary mod, although they do tend to suffer in terms of cap control just due to the fact that their gun power is not brilliant. Z52 can work out for you because you do have very good hydro and your guns are pretty solid. You just have to be a bit more careful with that. But that would be my choices in terms of destroyers. In terms of cruisers now, cruisers can be a bit rough. As mentioned before, like, it's not the greatest experience in the world, but out of the cruisers I would recommend, Des Moines I do give a bit of a slight hesitation towards, because you lack the armor that the other cruisers or the tankiness the other cruisers I'm going to recommend, but you do have obviously some absolutely ludicrous firepower that you can pump out there, and you've got a very solid radar. Minotaur is actually a fantastic choice here, because if you're running, and this is obviously a high skill level play if you're running Minotaur, if you're running radar Minotaur and you can catch enemy destroyers out, you can probably single-handedly win the match for your team by just purely catching out the enemy destroyer and absolutely smashing him with your guns. Moskva's a solid choice. Napoli also actually a pretty solid choice if you're wanting to go for look for the flanks on the out wide. Petropavlovsk is probably the #1 cruiser of choice in my opinion, just because, well, it's the bullshit row, it's the Petro, it's pretty damn insane. If you have a Puerto Rico, that can actually work out very well for you as well, because it is very tanky indeed. And, well, Stalingrad can work out as well, although you just got to be a little bit more careful with that, because if you do get caught on the broadside, it's not great for you. And in terms of tier 10 battleships, well, Yamato's always solid. Bourgogne, that's also a fantastic ship choice. Kremlin's great. Ohio is amazing. Preußen's done very well, I've found. Schlieffen can be fantastic as well. And, well, I think that's all I've got to say for you guys. Anyways, I hope you guys have all enjoyed watching this, and I hope it does help you guys a little bit out. If you do have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below. And, well, I hope you guys do the best in this ranked season. Thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.